Hey guys, it's Alec Agard coming to you with a new YouTube video. We are out in the shop, got Turbo GMC behind me, and we have our special guest right here, the 2024 SEADOO Spark. And today we're going to be doing an install on the front storage bin. Now, if you have ever installed one of these on the 14 through 23 Sparks, they're pretty dang easy. I've been looking at the instructions for this. It looks pretty simple. It is a little bit different. There's some more bolts and some more securement that's involved with these. So we got to take a couple things apart. I'm going to show that to you. Just remember, BRP does have instructions for this. It's instructions.brp.com. They have pretty decent instructions, I would say. That's what I'm going to be using for tips on this. I will let you know what I think about the storage bin as well, because it is redesigned, and I want to tell you if it's worth your $200 or so that you're going to pay for the storage bin. So stick with us. We'll try and get this knocked out as fast as possible. So flipping around to show you the storage bin mostly unboxed, you can see we have about 6 pieces here and just a couple pieces of hardware. So we have the bottom mounting piece for the lid. We got the lid, we got the 2 sides, and then we have these brackets, and these are what the lid actually snaps into. So we will get to putting this stuff on the machine. So total 4 pieces here, 2 pieces there, and the hardware kit. If you don't have that, I don't know what to tell you. So we're going to get started. First off, it looks like these side panels need to come off, and I will show you that, and then we're going to get this front piece pulled off because there's some mounting that goes on behind these. You might be asking yourself, Alec, what do I need for tools? So far, what I've read, T30 Torx, I got on a T-handle. I might end up putting it on a ratchet, just depends. So get yourself a T30 Torx and something to turn that Torx with. We're going to get started here. We're going to put the key up. And these are pretty much similar to the first gen Spark. Jeez. So if you saw what I did there, there's 2 tabs, and we'll put a little grease on these when we put it back together, just so that they slide in there a little bit easier. But it is secured up here with some little fingers. Goes underneath here with this, and it's got the 2 tabs. So now that we got that off, we're gonna look up in here, and there's a, it looks like a 10 millimeter. So I'm expanding my tools already. Look, I don't know what I'm doing. Looks like there's, 10 millimeter up in here. All right, switch from our T30 to our 10 mil. And I will show you this really quick. You can see right up in here, there is that silver bolt. Yep, right there. We're gonna get that guy pulled out, and we will pull off the front. That guy's out of there. That's what it looks like. It's got a nice head around it. We will set that off to the side. We will need that in just a second. So this has a couple brackets, and it's got a tab right here. So essentially that was just a little pull forward and then kind of an up and out. That side's off. We're going to skip over to the other side really quick. And there's that piece off. So we're going to get started on these pieces. So essentially you can tell this has an R on it. So this will go on the throttle side, the right side of the ski. This is kind of how they fit up in here. So there is a screw that goes in where my pinky finger is, right here. And there's one in the back, and they already exist. So we're going to be pulling those screws out from underneath the cowl here. I will try and show them to you underneath here. It's the one in the back here. And it's the one right where my pinky finger is right there. So I'm going to get that taken care of. That's going to be kind of hard to record. I'm going to grab a ratchet for underneath here, just because my T-handle is a little bit long. The back one's silver, the front one's black. I highly encourage you to do this with hand tools, as much as a lot of us like to break out the old Milwaukee set and get a little carried away with the Ugga Duggas. You are only screwing into plastic, and you only get so many times to screw into that plastic before you have created so many sets of threads that you're not grabbing any plastic anymore. So not that you would install this and remove it quite a few times, but it's a good idea with these plastic sparks. Just use the hand tools, even if it takes you a couple extra minutes. So back one in it, went back. Make sure both of those are snug as a bug in a rug. There's the black here. So we got left right there. We get this guy thrown up. These two pieces on. This is where the lid snaps down into. We're going to get the nose piece put on for the lid hinge. If you really wanted to pull these out with impact, you could, just to speed things up. But I would definitely recommend putting them back in by hand, at least starting them by hand. And then if you want to throw the Ugga Duggas at it, be my guest. But I'm going to do it by hand. It's a brand new ski. It doesn't need to be abused in the garage yet. That's after like the 7th wear ring, then they get abused. All right, so there's that right there. We're gonna grab our nose piece right here. Now, one thing to remember, take your plastic washers up with you. Got all 3 of them. Because these have little standoffs. So the plastic washers are gonna go on the top with our bolts. My biggest piece of advice to anyone that's ever putting together a spark, if you haven't, kind of leave stuff loose. I have all 3 of these bolts loose right now. I'm going to do a little shimmy on it just to make sure it is in a place that it lines up well. The corners here look about even. I like how it looks. I like how it's tight. Let's go number 2. Number 3. That thing is solid. All right, we have these pieces installed on both sides. We got the nose piece installed up here. We are going to grab a couple things from our hardware kit. The next thing we need out of our hardware kit is we need these 2 nuts, and these guys are going to slide into here. The instruction manual for this does not necessarily specify if this ridge is supposed to be up or down, but it seems to be that there's kind of a spot for this to go in. So I'm putting them down on both sides. Something like that. And then we will be able to run a screw through here into that plastic nut. Rubber O-rings, and these are actually going to get put into here. You're just going to have to massage those in. And what I'm kind of doing is, as I'm putting these in, you just kind of get one edge to go in, and then you just kind of start working it around. So once you get that guy installed in there, it should be able to move around in its hole just a little bit. That's how you know it's loose enough and installed correctly. So you can kind of tell if it's not in there, like I said, if it's not moving around a little bit in its hole, but also if you feel the bottom and you feel any ridges or anything like that, or anything that's standing up or dimpled down, you know it's not flat in there. All right, so we just got the rubber guys installed right here, and our next step is to put the side pieces in. With these rubber guys, I would honestly highly recommend you put these in before you install these pieces. There's no reason you can't. It means you don't have to fight the little floppiness that's going on here. So we're gonna grab our 2 side pieces. We are at pieces 4 and 5 out of 6. So we're moving right along. These are also marked left hand and right. So what I did, I stuck this into its respective home, took this bolt, stuck it through. You gotta stick it through this guy and stick it into your nut that's right here. So let me try and get a good angle of this. It's gonna be a little bit harder to see, but I think this should do us. So we're gonna get this guy this kind of bottom piece lined up with the rail that's in there. Kind of like this.
Alright, we got our screw here. We're going to stick it through the hole there. And find our hole on our top holder.
So just kind of pull up on this guy as you're sticking that bolt through. We got some happy customers. So unfortunately my heater turned on, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. But so we got the front ones in. We got 4 to put down in here, and we got to put our plastic push pins / they call them rivets in the backside. So I would leave these loose on the front until you get the bottom ones in. So let's do that next. I'm gonna do the plastic rivets, what they call the plastic rivets, which are actually just push pins. Next, that guy in there, and this guy up in here. So I just want to show you really quick. We have our first bolt right here. We got our second one right here, third one here, and we got our push pin right there. So that right hand side or throttle side is complete. All right, so since I saw you last, we have the trim pieces put back on with just that one bolt in the back side. Both sides are put on, and then we got the kind of the knee pads or the kick panels right here put back on. Now, I will tell you one thing. The lid is very, very difficult to get into its home right here. On the first gens, the lids fall off all the time, and so you do the zip tie mod to hold this down. These ones, I do not think it's necessary at all. You can see I drilled the holes for the zip ties, and then I had such a hard time getting this lid on. I do not think you need to worry about doing the zip tie mod on this. So just know, as you're putting this on, put one finger here as you're pushing this down, and then put some pressure on top of the lid. And you're gonna have to force it pretty good. Like put your weight into it, because I had to push really hard to get that. So overall, the inside of this is much, much bigger than the first generation Spark convenience package. So I would say that this is a much better design. You kind of got to pull out like this movement when you're pushing those down, but not having the straps is kind of nice. And like I said, it is a much bigger storage bin than what we had before. You can see this is all hard plastic instead of the first generation was kind of a flexible rubber. And you can see how much real estate they left on the back of that was not used. And this one is much bigger. All right, so here's just a little bit of video with the flash on my phone. So you can see that is a heck of a lot bigger than the original Spark over here. Not super big. So definitely SEADOO did a much better job on these for storage. And you can also see it's got a nice deep area right here. This is actually just part of the original jet ski right here. So overall, I think this is designed a little bit better and definitely has a lot more storage than the first generation. Hey guys, so we're gonna outro this video, pretty much complete. It took me, I would say, about an hour to get this done. I would definitely recommend put the rubber grommets in before you put the pieces on the jet ski. It just makes it easier. And then also just know that you're gonna have to put quite a bit of pressure on the lid. Overall, I would say this is worth the $200 that you gotta spend on it. And it's definitely more storage and better setup than the first generation Sparks were. So overall, I like it. I think it's a worthwhile upgrade, especially if you're on a 1-up that doesn't have a whole lot of storage space. I mean, realistically, none of these have a whole lot of storage space. So I'm pretty happy with it. And until I see you guys next time, peace.